Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the Christmas holiday Jesus coloring activity right here. As you see right here is I went and drew right here is a pictures like so forth of a coloring of Jesus, and of course right here of like you have Mary and Joseph right here of say the birth of Jesus, and also a number of say art colorings it is. I go ahead and I guess I can go and use this like the red and the green crayons right here. But basically but most of us remember about the whole tradition of what you call like for the holiday season of talking about Christmas. So that a lot of times that talking about it's like the birth of Christ, and on your hand too that you have right here for Mary and Joseph it is, and on your hand that so you add a little bit of color right here to like what you call well, while I was drawing this, I was also thinking about that that if that would have been what you call it, Mary and Joseph, if Mary would have been what you call that the person that it's like so for the parents it's like to baby Jesus it is that if they would, if she would have been sitting down or standing up, or it's like one in between or something like that like I talk about between sitting down and standing up, and I'll tell anybody here I was not looking at no pictures whenever I drew this, so in a lot of ways that I'm just if they would have been what you call wearing some type of clothing it is that to where it covers their face, or if their hair or something like that. But anyway, you have right here is the parents of baby Jesus, and then on your hand that is that like talking about is like the whole part about is like going to Bethlehem. It's like you talk about being born is like from Bethlehem it is, and talk say with the Jerusalems it is, and talk about other parts say that from the Bible it is, but anyway, but you have right here is like say artistic draw. I went ahead and colored right here. I talk about it's like the birth of Christ right here, and I could remember a lot. Like I keep thinking about if it's like from Bethlehem it is. It's like talking about if you say born in Bethlehem, and other stories like it talking about from growing up, and then of course time from whenever Jesus was crucified it was, but you have right here is like a drawing right here, and I kept thinking about, my parents told me a while back that like with Jesus right here is that if most of us if seen it like in like the Bible it is of talking about is that if we even know exactly what Jesus looks like, it's like talking about the type of Jesus that came from heaven to earth it is, and kind of reminds me of that song. It's like he came from heaven to earth to show the way, and then from the earth to my death to pay or something, and then and it goes by like which is the baptism song of talk about it's like from the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky, and all and then but on your hand too that talk about the birth of Christ though, and then with the holiday season though that I can, it's like what I'm doing right here is just add in some color right here. It's like for Jesus right here of knowing about that if this was if this will be like what you call a little bit about Jesus, what it looks like it is they have right here is like say like a beard right here that most of us have maybe seen it in like the Bible it is like talking about that exactly is like maybe what a little bit what Jesus looks like. And if anybody has seen that movie which go Heaven is for Real it is that this kind of reminds me knowing about it that if anybody talking about like is to maybe do something such as try to draw Jesus, maybe what Jesus looks like, what you think Jesus looks like. During the time that I was going to church, I can tell anybody here that no one really has ever asked me. I'm like that if I could maybe draw a picture of maybe what if he has a horse, what his horse looks like, or maybe if it's a camel, or if it's if it's a lamb or something like that I might talking about like if he has what you call a horse, so that if I can see here use I don't really have anything like use like these colors here, but use like what's called as a yellow and an orange, but and just draw right here. It's like a detail right here of like a, so far as if Christ were to have like what you call as like a horse, it is like a, normally I guess it would be like a white horse, but on your hand that talk about it's like you have it to where it's hair brushed back, and then do some like what you call some put some artwork into it, into a photo like this, into a drawing of trying to draw the horse. But on your hand that you have you see there's a horse right here, and I'm like yeah, that draw it like but on your hand that like we say with Christ, so if he were to have like what you call like a, if it's a any type of animal, it is, if it's a sheep, or if it's a anything related to lambs or anything like that, that like talking about like the types of animals, is like talking about that maybe he would have like say in heaven or something like that, yeah. But anyway, this reminds me, I'm like that, yeah, a lot of times though that they usually say that a lot of times around Easter that whenever you do like any research so far as talk about like besides say the birth of Christ, of talking about it's like from whenever he was crucified, it is, and then whenever he went up on the cross, but anyway, I'll go ahead and draw it's like a little bit more detail right here. It's like you got right here, it's like you said the horse, and but basically that ideas for life is the horse right there, but and then they kind of draw like we say is the tail right here, but like I got the tail up, but anyway, you have right there is a horse, and then maybe a lamb it is, but if I were to actually draw in so a little bit more details right here is like for Jesus, so it's like I can maybe that tell anybody here that maybe add a little bit more detail, maybe a little bit to the face, but on your hand too, that the type of clothes that maybe he was wearing, it is that I was also thinking about is like ideas from that movie. It's like Heaven is for Real. It is. It's like talking about the details that maybe what you would think that Jesus will look like. It's like talking about that with his face, and of course it's like with the clothes, and it's like the hair, and anybody maybe think about that that if you want to make Jesus look a little bit realistic, it is like if he would actually be walking on ground, it is like add I was thinking about maybe adding in some go ahead and add in right here some blue, but I was also thinking about maybe putting like what you call like a stream of water, like if he would be walking maybe on water or something like that, but on your hand, and I'm like, yeah, that not really like you say other than than Moses or something like that, but yeah, like a little bit of red right here. Red, and then go ahead and I'll go ahead and add see here, green. I'm like, yeah, I thought I had a green marker, but I'll go ahead and use green crayon here. I guess it's about as good, but anyway, right there is like talk about where like him walking, and then add a little bit of orange, like add just a little bit of orange right here is like for the background, but anyway, it's just light orange. It's just not a whole lot of like if you want to maybe add a little bit of dark spots right here, it's like places to where I might like the type of image of Jesus. It's like if he were to be like what you call saying like in a light or something like that. A lot of times anybody probably think about like that yeah, a lot of times when they see that being it's like the type of light it is, it's like in the background it is, and a lot of times that usually means like talk about it's like the scene from heaven or something like that, but a lot of times every time I think about them like that talk about if you were to actually draw Jesus like I do like a drawing like of Jesus it is, and knowing about that a lot of times anybody maybe think about like yeah that be standing somewhere where there's a lot of light, and then maybe just a little bit of light or something like that, and Usually there's a light usually represent like so far as the healing power or something like that, or something that really so far as for the type of look say of heaven it is. But if most of us have gone to church though a lot of times, that you may see that with like let's say a type of Jesus though that we may see him on a cross though a lot of times that you would see like an image of him, so the cross symbol it is. So far as knowing about that Jesus, it's like died on the cross to say for our give our sins it is. It's like for the sins though. But on your hand that talking about it's like we have right here is Jesus right here, and use the green right here. But I'm like that if I want to go ahead and maybe put a little bit of green right here, it's like for his clothes, it's like for the type of clothes that he would be wearing as well. But on the other hand, that I went ahead and drew right here with crayon, and then right here is like with marker though, and with anybody that may want, I'm like that if I want to go ahead and maybe add a little bit of yellow right here, it's like for the face so, and a lot of times with one way to maybe using using a marker though, I'll go ahead and did like the outline in blue though, but I can maybe add just a little bit of blue maybe around the eyes it is. That just kind of make it, I don't know, anybody maybe think that, I like that darker areas that maybe if there was a shadow or something like that, to just add just a little bit of dark areas, but right here, right where his beard is, and then I'm like, that there are, I guess there are some dark areas, I guess to say, of the face to where that you kind of, just to make it, that's usually how I make it a little bit more realistic, just to go ahead and add a little bit more, detail to like what you call like that parts say of the mouth is like a, that type of word that you have for it, such as if it's a contrary or abstract or anything like that. If I talk about between the detailed line that is a line design or something like that, but and a little bit of blue right here. And anybody made me think, I'm like, that you kind of give baby Jesus, give Jesus it is, that you kind of give him like a little bit of detail right here is like for the cheeks, and then it's like for the ears right here. And then from there, I only got a certain few colors here. I think I got the black here. I can maybe add a little bit of black detail right here for the hair. A lot of people probably think about my that talk about do we know for sure if Jesus if like does Jesus really have long hair or something like that. But the way I think about like that anybody probably think about it's kind of hard to describe of knowing about what Jesus really looks like it is. But like I said, anybody that is like talking about all gets about the images, of course, you say from the Bible it is about really about maybe about what he looks like. And on the other hand, that use a little bit of red right here. And I don't know. I'm like at the time, you may wonder about that, like you say, Jesus. It is that knowing about that he kind of like talking about if that's supposed to be what you call Jesus. It is Jesus with the sunburn, whatever you want to call it. But I'm like, well, I tell you one thing that whole part about knowing about it's like if we know about it's like exactly like it's like Jesus looks like. But just I can only add a little blue right here. It's like for the hands right here as well. But right here is the God's Jesus in God's hands. It is, and then but other than that, and a little bit of red right here. From there, and then you have right there is it's like for for Jesus it is. And go ahead and add a little bit of red right here. Maybe add a little bit of blue right here. It's like for the feet right here. But anyway, if he would be walking, but from there, and then from there, I'll go ahead and I don't know if we a lot of times like a Christmas tree though, that if we know about the whole spirit of Christmas, it is like talking about. I'm like, yeah, that you have right here is a tree. I'll go ahead and add like a maybe a few details of a Christmas tree right here. But at the time, if we ever wonder, but do the research about that, talking about that, if we ever researched about the whole purpose about maybe why we put up a Christmas tree for every holiday season for Christmas time, and I'm thinking that more likely that Christmas tree put up and then decorated it is. But anyway, tell anybody here that back in those days, I'm sure maybe back in the early I think Christ's time, I think was about 1900 or so BC, something like that. I'm not exactly for sure. But anyway, let's just say you got right there is that kind of, I guess that's kind of a good example of a Christmas tree right there. And you have the Christmas ornaments right here. And then see here, add just a little bit. I'm like, I got other colors too. I like I have black, and then I got the pink in it. I'm like the pink. Go ahead and use a little bit of pink. And Christmas, other decorations too. But all these colors right here, I'll go ahead and use the same thing now. I'm like, that I can use the blue right here. It's like for the gifts though, that a lot of times anybody maybe wonder about the whole spirit of say Christmas, about celebrate the birth of Christ it is. And a lot of times I can wonder about whoever that was born. I'm like, at the time that anybody that may wonder too, and maybe if they want to leave me a comment of talk about, like, if there was somebody who was born on Christmas Day, or maybe around the holiday Christmases, is it the rule that they are supposed to get less presents? And if it is possible, that what's the reason why? And I'm thinking, I don't know if this is the right answer or not, but I'm thinking maybe one of the reasons to why that they get less presents, more likely, I guess, is that maybe because of the fact about that that part of the holiday, of course, is divided between what you call like between family gatherings, and on the other hand too, that with the whole special Christmas tradition it is that you get you've already been given like a certain amount of gifts, or say that special tradition of say a birthday cake. And I don't know, some people that may say that I guess that's just maybe the way it goes, that anybody who was born between Hanukkah and maybe Christmas it is, they get less presents. And I even heard that they get more presents. But I would think that maybe you would get a little bit more presents, for the fact about maybe that if you were born on Christmas, then maybe that I guess the rule really is not really about that you get to open the first present. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, anybody, I would think that if anything, if you were born on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, around the Christmas holiday, you would be able to open the first present if it was yours. I'm like, if you would be able to open the first present. I don't know about the rule is that you get less presents, but maybe that you get to open the first present. And on the other hand, the way I would think about, I'm like, and I think that maybe that's what the whole part about the holiday season is that whoever that was born on a Christmas or before, or around the Christmas holiday it is, would be able to open the first present. And then besides you get less presents though, but on your hand that they may say that you get to open the first present, but then on your hand too that you can only be allowed to be given which call a certain amount compared to everybody else, because a lot of times I guess that may be what the rule is. A lot of times is that you only go. You get to open the first present, but then everybody else gets their share amount of say a presents. And since it's like the whole part about say birth of being born, they say around Christmas holiday though, that I really don't know. And half the time that like maybe a preacher may or may not know exactly the whole answer to that either, about whoever that got married on Christmas, or was born on Christmas, or if the special holiday tradition it is, and knowing about them, like that according to what the Bible says, that more likely that they say that it's like with the Holy Bible, that they say that whole part about the Christmas holiday it is that knowing about that you are given about the same amount of presents, or maybe a little bit less presents, because you get to open maybe the first present it is, that knowing about like that just the way it goes. I'm like, yep. I don't know too many people who were born on Christmas, but on the other hand too, who have a birthday on Christmas. But on the other hand, the way I think about, I'm like, that they may say, well, I'm born the day on Christmas Eve it is, and I would probably say that, hey, give me more presents. But on the other hand, the way I would think about it, I'm like, with anybody might, I'm like, it's all about the fact, the holiday tradition of say the birth of Christ. And on the other hand, that it's like that they may say that you are able to open the first present. You'll be the one to open the first present, and let everybody else take their turns too at opening all their presents. But the way I would think about it though, that if most of the time though that we may think that the whole part about giving though, that being around family it is, be around your friends and family it is, of talking about the whole holiday about giving though, that sitting around the Christmas tree, and you have do Christmas cookies, and then you may have Christmas dinner it is, and then you have other holiday traditions it is, and you may be gathering around the fireplace it is. And a lot of times with anybody that if they have their struggles with money a lot of times, and knowing about that whole true meaning about Christmas, so about being with family it is, family and friends. And I can tell anybody here that so far as Jesus, knowing about the holiday, the Christmas holiday Jesus of talking about, whenever I was baptized, it was as I baptized, that would have been about 1995 it was, that I can remember that my teacher got on to me about she was going to meet me in the office one time. I remember the teacher got mad at me for going to the classroom whenever I was supposed to stay in the office it was, and I can remember that she yelled at me for that particular reason. And I kept thinking about that I asked Jesus, of course, to come into my heart, and knowing about that after I go back to school the next day, and it's like Jesus is going to get mad. Like I kept thinking about, Jesus is not mad at me, is he? But on the other hand too, just because the teacher yelled at me, I'm like, that don't mean I did something wrong, is it? But on the other hand, that the whole part about it's like we say right here about the Christmas holiday Jesus, of talking about like for what my creativity about what I can do about drawing say Jesus it is, and then kind of talking about it's like the whole holiday tradition of it's called like talking about say Mary Joseph it is. And I'll go ahead and draw right here quickly. He's got the eyes right here, and of course say for baby Jesus it is. And then I can tell you right here, it's like, away in a manger, about to the born Jesus was born on Christmas Day. And on the other hand, that another song that I feel like this little mine of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. And then I tell you the mountain like this, it's little embryo. And I tell you the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. And I could tell anybody here that for whatever reason, and maybe I thought that I made that song up, but on the other hand, that I'm like, well, it's kind of a say Christian song of knowing about, like, I tell you the mountain, like did to the embryo. I'm like, I don't know all the lyrics. I don't know all the lyrics, but on the other hand, I talk about when Jesus Christ was born. It is, and knowing about right here, the details right here is like talk about, it's like with the presents, and of course we say with Jesus it is, and it's like the horse, and of course say the reigning and say in the manger it is. I'm talking about say the birth of Christ. I'm talking about Christmas holiday Jesus color activity.